Hello, students. Last week I had you take a look at William Wordsworth, that poet who lived up in the Lake District and was so obsessed with nature. I wandered lonely as a cloud, and he saw all that fantastic nature, and it meant so much to him. We took a look at Lord Byron, who wrote quite romantic poetry about women and such. So we get the nature aspect. We've got and I'd say with Wordsworth too, you get that kind of the ideal person as a farmer out in his field, trying to be free and not be so uptight as all those Enlightenment people. And with Byron, we get the emotion, the drama from the kind of life he lived and the kind of poetry he wrote. And then these guys died, actually, is what happened to them. And so this is just a little later, but we have here the next famous poet that hit England. As soon as Wordsworth died, Alfred Lord Tennyson was declared the poet laureate, the reigning poet of England, and took that honor. So he's a little later than Wordsworth and Byron, but he's still writing in a very, very romantic style. And this poem that we're going to do, it's a longer poem. You will see the nature aspect, but what I mostly want to highlight from this is how obsessed they were with the medieval period. They didn't care about Greeks and Romans, they cared about the medieval period. So you're going to see a poem written in the 1850s that's about Camelot and Sir Lancelot, okay? And the Lady of Shalott, because it rhymes like that. It's kind of fun. Anyway, a little bit about Alfred Lord Tennyson. It goes like this. Alfred Lord Tennyson was the fourth son of a family of 12 children. Kind of a lot. His father was an alcoholic, who disliked his job in the church. He was a fairly minor official in the church, hated it, had a lot of problems. One of his brothers was actually clinically insane, which must have been rough. Another brother was actually addicted to opium. I'm going to put opium addict. So he had a rough family. At one point, the father was put in debtor's prison. It just wasn't a good situation. Tennyson really struggled with money for a long time. Tennyson was massive in physique. He was a big, tall man, but he was painfully shy, which I kind of like about him. He went to school at Cambridge, and he became great friends with this guy named Arthur Hallam, who became engaged to Tennyson's sister. He was greatly affected by Hallam's death in 1833. His best friend died. It's awful. It led him to write the poem series called In Memoriam, which helped make him famous. What he did is he actually decided to mourn Arthur Hallam in a series of poems, and he wrote one a month for something like 4 years. Or 5 or 6, I don't remember, where he experiences his grief, in this season, and at Christmas time. And it's such an incredible body of work because you can see his grief with all the aspects of it, the anger, the deep sorrow, the understanding, the peace, the longing. It's all there, Nice little set of short poems I'll put together in one book. And like I said, it made him famous, poet laureate. Besides grief, in his poems, he often deals with the themes of medieval chivalry, so this whole knightly thing, mythology, and then he was quite interested in the politics of the day. Politics. He became the poet laureate of England in 1850. Yes, 1850. In the same year, he finally married Emily Selwood. He'd fallen in love with her in 1836, but he couldn't marry her because of poverty. Well, that's sad. Afterwards, he enjoyed prosperity. He bought a home in the country so he could enjoy the seclusion that he liked. He was known as a character, one who roamed the fields with his cloak, hat, and shaggy beard. He's a big guy, tall, long cloak, hat, big long beard. Look, there goes that funny poet. And who read his own poetry aloud in a unique, booming sort of voice. And apparently he didn't mind reading his own poetry, even though in terms of social skills, he was quite shy. So that's a little bit about Alfred Lord Tennyson. And then open up the PDF to Lady of Shalott. You'll see it's long. It is surprisingly sing-song and odd. Let's see. I don't want you to miss the fact. Don't miss the fact that you're going to learn about this random lady that nobody knows about, and she lives in a castle. And there's this random curse on her not to look at the city of Camelot. She's not allowed to look out her window. We don't know why. But instead, she has a mirror, so she can see what's out her mirror in reflection. And she spends her time weaving tapestries based on the things that she sees in that mirror, knowing she is not to look out the window. And so she doesn't. She weaves, and it's all good, and nobody really knows she's there. But something comes along, someone comes along, who's so handsome and so amazing, it makes her break her oath, and she looks out the window. And you'll have to see what happens next. You'll see the aspects of fairy tale-like medieval romance. It's quite a fun one. They've actually made this one into a song. If you want to look on YouTube, you can hear it. A very new agey, ethereal sorts of song. There she weaves by night and day, a magic web with colors gay. It's really quite nice. All right, have fun with the questions. As you draw her little dwelling place castle, it can be a stick castle. That's okay. Bye now.